It's a foggy night on old Cape Cod. A perfect night for our mystery. Tonight, Cape Cod Radio Mystery Theater presents a Titanic mystery thriller entitled Mr. Hugos Night to Remember. It is Sunday night, April 14th, 1912. The time is just past 7 bells in the first night watch, 11:40 p.m. The location is latitude 41 degrees, 52 minutes north, longitude 50 degrees, 22 minutes west. A point in the North Atlantic, approximately 400 miles off Cape Race, Newfoundland. The steamer Californian is stopped for the night. Her engines shut down. She drifts before an immense field of pack ice. The moonless night is calm, bitterly cold, and as black as the dazzle of icy stars overhead will allow. A watchman in a wool cap and sea coat stands upon the upper deck of the Californian, smoking a cigarette while he watches one bright star on the eastern horizon grow larger and brighter. Gradually, the light becomes elongated into a string of lights, and he recognizes it for what it is, a ship, a large passenger liner heading west-southwest on a course parallel to their own. Which ship it is, he's not sure, although perhaps, had he thought about it, he might have remembered that this is the week the Titanic is scheduled to make her maiden voyage from Southampton to New York.
Well, take a look at who's up.
The man on deck is joined by another.
How do you stand it out here?
I stay warm as long as I keep smoking. When I stop smoking, I go in.
They speak in the kind of hushed undertones one automatically assumes when speaking in the presence of so many stars.
What's that ship out there?
I don't know. I've been watching her coming up. She's a liner, judging by the way she's lit up.
Could be the Titanic. Evans says she's somewhere around. He's been picking up her messages all day over the wireless, jamming the airwaves. They even cut him off in mid-sentence when he was giving them the warning about the ice.
She's moving right along. What's she making, 20 knots? She better think about slowing down soon unless she's figured out how to do what Moses did and make this ice field miraculously part itself. Are you sure she got the message about the ice?
She got it all right. Every ship in the North Atlantic is aware of it.
The two men continue gazing out at the ship, which after a time appears to have stopped some 10 miles distant. Several minutes pass. Then...
Look at that. She's putting on a fireworks display.
Well, what do you know?
Must be having a party. Maiden voyage, after all. There's the difference between them and us, buddy boy. When we stop for the night, we all go to bed. When they stop, they just keep right on celebrating. What must it be like? A maiden voyage on a fancy liner? Hey, there goes another. Now, how do we know for sure it's a party? Maybe you better go wake Evans up and have him call over there.
He won't appreciate being wakened.
Well, just the same, maybe you better go do it.
Okay, but I'm saying it was your idea.
When he gets through, tell him to have somebody row over and deliver us a couple of bottles of champagne.
A little far to row, don't you think?
If they're drunk enough, they won't think so. Hey, hold it a minute.
What is it?
Come on back up here.
What is it?
Listen to that. They're playing music. That's music. Well, we can forget about the emergency. They wouldn't be playing music if that was the case. They're all soused as spouses over there, And they made the band go outside so they can dance under the stars. They're so drunk they can't even feel how cold it is.
Yeah, well, I can. I'm going in.
Must it be like maiden voyage on a fancy liner like that? Beautiful women in satin gowns, tuxedos, champagne, silver cigarette cases. It must be one never-ending revelry.
Sound envious.
Yeah, maybe a little. Sure, maybe I'd trade places for a night like tonight, but that'd be enough. This life suits me just fine.
Yeah? Well, I'm going in. I hate watching the celebration I can't be a part of.
Oh, me too. I'm going to bed. There's a party for me tonight. It'll have to be one taking place in my dreams.
I'm Ted Bicknell, and this is Worldview Tonight. Tonight, salvaging the Titanic, archaeology or scavenging. Our focus this evening, the salvage operation now underway to bring back artifacts from the sunken Titanic. An operation not without risk and certainly not without controversy, as there are those who feel the Titanic should rightfully be left alone. Tonight we'll speak with Mrs. Eva Hartley, Dame Hartley, who was just 12 years old and a passenger on the Titanic the night it went down. And we'll be going by satellite to the actual location in the North Atlantic where the crew of the salvage ship Glommer 2 are making last-minute preparations for the initial dive down to the wreck. We'll speak with Hugo Legrand, the great Hugo as he bills himself, the organizer and leader of the expedition. First, for our viewers who need filling in on the nature and scope of this enterprise, we have arranged to show you this bit of footage borrowed from our affiliate sister station, WPPX. Let's see that now.
They're doing it again. 75 years after her sinking, RMS Titanic is about to be revisited. Only this time it won't be just any enterprising visitor happening by, but none other than media blitzman himself, entrepreneur Hugo Legrand, the great Hugo. Yes, the great Hugo, renowned for his adventuresome expeditions to test the great myths and legends of the world. Loch Ness, Bigfoot, Abominable Snowman, and the Bermuda Triangle is about to confront a real-life legend as he becomes one of the few human beings on Earth to come face to face with the sunken Titanic. Like standing on the moon or standing on Everest, this is not the sort of trip that any but the most adventurous will ever take. But leave it to the great Hugo to take up the challenge. They'll be going down 13,000 feet, where water pressure exceeds 3.5 tons per square inch. Want to find out what that feels like? Try balancing a Cadillac on your toe. Centerpiece of the expedition is the mini-submarine dubbed the Hugo 1, which the great Hugo and his pilot will take down to the wreck. Let's take a closer look at this amazing submersible. The hull of the capsule a mere 2 inches thick, not so thick to withstand over 77,000 tons of water pressure bearing down. But this is not ordinary metal, it is titanium, strongest metal known to man, virtually uncrushable. Central feature of the submarine is the 2.5-mile-long tether to the mothership, which supplies the enormous extra power enabling it to accomplish tasks far greater than any of its predecessor submarines. Anyone for arm wrestling? Check out those 2 robot arms, powerful hydraulic manipulators. They can extend a full 8 feet and are capable of picking up objects much heavier than the bikini-clad volunteer seen here. Unhand her, you cad. Sailing day arrives at last, and it's a beautiful day with banner blue skies and brilliant sunshine as the crew of the Glommer 2 prepare for departure. The crowd of happy onlookers line the dock, many of whom have been here since early morning when the complimentary champagne first began flowing. The great Hugo is known for his gala send-offs, and this one doesn't disappoint. And there's the traditional two-toot salute as the Glommer 2 drops her lines and pulls away from the pier. The crowd sends up a boisterous yell. And there's the great Hugo himself appearing on the poop deck, waving a confident goodbye to the crowd. With streamers flying, it's bon voyage. They're off to the open ocean.
With me here in the studio tonight is Dame Eva Hartley. Dame Hartley, you were on board the Titanic that night. How does all of this strike you?
I think it's despicable. It would be far better left alone as an undersea memorial like they were calling for. What these people are doing, they're like little boys with their hands in the candy jar. Someone should slap their hands.
Let's go directly now to the Glommer 2 at sea and bring in Mr. Hugo. Mr. Hugo, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I hear you.
Mr. Hugo, why do this?
Why do it? Well, of course, because we can. Because it's there. We live in a world of advanced technology. Our reach extends now even into the furthest corners of the globe. It's our destiny to go there.
Go there, perhaps, but why bring anything back?
Well, Ted, it wouldn't be much of a salvage operation if we didn't. Oh, I know what you're getting at. Of course, the Titanic was a disaster, but there are other disasters, hundreds of shipwrecks, salvaged every day. Why, if we were to memorialize every accident where there's loss of human life, we'd have to bronze every automobile crash, every train wreck, every plane that falls out of the sky. Oh, pretty soon those things would begin to clutter up the landscape. The world belongs to the living, Ted, not to the dead.
Dame Hartley?
It is precisely for the sake of the living that we ought to leave it alone. There were things that happened that night, things I saw that I will never forget. Tremendous acts of courage and heroism, selflessness, people willingly sacrificing their own lives for the sake of others, not only family and loved ones, but perfect strangers. Tenderness and compassion, that's what I saw, and that's the lesson we need to bring back, not curios and souvenirs. I was 12 years old when my father picked me up and kissed me and set me into a lifeboat and then waved goodbye for the last time. There hasn't been a day gone by that I haven't returned to walk those decks again in my mind. Now that I'm old, I've come to realize that all my life I have been walking the decks of the Titanic. So do we all. Every moment we are living. The death the victims of the Titanic faced is the same death we all face. Theirs was abbreviated. For most of us it tends to be drawn out, but in the end it's the same. And always, it's how we handle it that matters. It's the way in which we approach things that makes all the difference.
Very moving, Dame Hartley. Mr. Hugo, how do you respond? Mr. Hugo, how do you respond?
Oh, sorry, Ted, I wasn't listening. We're awful busy here getting ready. Listen, would you tell Mrs. Survivor, I've forgotten her name, that it would be my personal privilege to bestow upon her a souvenir artifact of her choice.
I don't want anything. I wouldn't accept it.
In fact, I'm going to make certain we bring back something extra special to send to her. Will you tell her that?
Tell him no. Tell him to go away. Brave robbers.
Mr. Hugo, many are calling for the Titanic to be recognized as an undersea memorial.
Hey, and I agree. That's precisely what I'm doing. Because having these objects in a display where people can go and see them is the best way to remind folks
That's the only reason?
What's that?
That's the only reason you're doing it. Not for money, not for prestige and notoriety. Those aren't trophies you're bringing back, are they?
Mr. Anchorman, what you don't seem to realize is I'm a showman. Some say I'm the world's greatest showman. What you have here is the world's greatest showman going down to look at the world's greatest